After having made the rocks, we need to group them together. So I will highlight everything down the middle and press Ctrl 2. That will lock everything except the rocks, since everything is grouped. And highlight the rest of the pieces, Ctrl G, and that makes a group of rocks, which we can name if we want to, just by double clicking that and naming it. So that's it. I'm going to lock this entire background layer and go to the camera body. Make sure that we are working in this layer from now on. So we need to make a rectangle of the body's main shape that's 480 by 248 pixels. So I'm going to press M for my rectangle tool, click one time, enter 480, press tab, enter 248. Since our units are in pixels, we can just go ahead and make that the correct dimension. And we will center align to the artboard. We also want to color this code. So I will double click to highlight this text over here, Control C, come over here, double click my fill box, Control V to paste, and for some reason this brown looks a lot darker than what I'm showing here on the screen, so I'll just bring down the color code and go with this. We need to align center, and I will move it down. So here's my line panel, and make sure that we have align to artboard selected, and I will align horizontal. So now I know that it is centered. There's the guide in the middle, so I will press Command R to bring up my rulers, and then just simply I can double click here to bring a guide, or I can just drag one to the middle from the left side, which is probably the better option in this case, so that we can know that it's centered for sure. And we want to bring another guide from the bottom up that is 128 pixels. So what I like to do is make a rectangle that is 128 pixels in height, and the width doesn't really matter. Give it whatever color, and then just bring it down, and this will evenly space out what they did here, 128 pixels. So I just use a rectangle as a spacer, and then holding shift I will bring this shape down, and now I know that it is 128 pixels from the bottom edge. Step 2 says to bring a guide from there. That's 480 by 24 pixels. So I'll just make one that's 480 by 24 and bring that down. And I'm not worried about being super 100% accurate in this tutorial, but there is our guide. We can put a guide down here if we want to. And we can bring a guide to our edges just like they did in the tutorial. And we need to color this color code. And that takes care of step 2 for the camera's body. Step 3, we need to add another small rectangle. Eight pixels from this edge. So we'll go ahead and do that. So basically 8 pixels from the top of this rectangle. It wants us to make this shape. So what I can do is option drag this so I don't have to enter the dimensions every time, and go to my transform panel, which will allow me to change the width and the height. So I will change this to 4 pixels. And I want to space it 8 pixels from the top edge. So I will first give it the color that the tutorial is asking for. Which is this color. And I'll just go ahead and option drag this and transform it, make it the 8. Let me do that again. Bring this down, holding option or alt, which will make a copy of it, transform it, make it 8 pixels. From this top edge, and now place my rectangle in the correct position, delete the 8 pixel, and actually this one's supposed to be 8 pixels. And maybe I got that backwards. I'm just gonna go ahead and wing it here and scoot it up a little bit more because the picture looks like it's less. Moving on to step 4. It wants us to create 2 vertical segments using 2 4x8 pixel rectangles. At a distance of 64 pixels from our edges. So here we have the, let's go ahead and move this to the edge. Check the other edge. I'm just using the spacebar to navigate around my artboard. And we can hide our transform panel. Press M for the rectangle tool, and we're using the spacer technique again. Let's make this 64 by 64. And just put that on the edge, and alt or option drag this one again. Holding down alt or option while moving a shape makes a copy of it. And so now we have 2 spacers for our 64 pixels. We can add the guides there if we want to. And that is basically that step. So we want to basically add some horizontal detail lines, vertically stack 2 pixels from one another, which will group, and then center a line. So basically what we did in step 4, which we forgot to do, is add a small segment right here. So I'll just go ahead and draw a little small rectangle. That's good. And I will color that this brown color. And I'll go ahead and just alt drag that over here. Command or Control plus sign to zoom in and out. And then I can delete these extra spacers. why this is looking brighter than what we had before, I don't know. So I guess this shape should be the same color as this bar. Let's go ahead and bring this down. Bring this one down a little bit. Just nudging it with the arrow key one time down. Alright, so something like this. I'm just going to ignore the fact that these colors are lighter and a little bit different from mine, from what I'm doing here and seeing on this tutorial. But step 4 was those little spaces right there. And now we need to add some detail using 3 rectangles vertically stacked 2 pixels from each other. So we're just going to make our initial rectangle 480 by 4, color it this color, which it is. We'll go ahead and lock our background shape. So I will go to the edge of the shape and make one that's 2 pixels. Option drag or Alt drag. I'll drag the spacer and one more rectangle, delete the spacers in between, and we have our detail, which we need to apparently group and align center. And so that takes care of step 5. I'm going to stop the video here and we'll continue with step 6 in the next video.